Hi, gang. Let's consider this to be a continuation of our weekly Substack market update. You know, middle of summer, summer doldrums. Things are kind of slow at times, and so I decided to spice things up a little bit and give you a good teaching and extend the teaching from last week on intraday futures and stocks. This is going to be a shorter video, but I just want you to get a good idea of what we're doing here. So we're going to talk about price and time square outs made simple on intraday futures and stocks. Here's our standard disclaimer. Trading is not for everyone. Do your due diligence, and it says what it says. So let's get started. Okay, I like to concentrate mostly on the intraday on 1, 4, and 15-minute charts. In this case, we got the Dow futures on a 4-minute. And what we have here is a low at 882, first high 978, pulls back to 944. That's a difference of 34 points. And it's 34 bars and lines up perfectly over here to continue on the trend. And that's a pretty good move. You can also scalp. Not that I mean, this would be an aggressive play to go short here if you would do it. But the reason that we're talking about it is I want you to be aware of the fact that from one high to the next high, and you'll see this tendency play out very often on intraday charts, is a 13-point differential. Now, that doesn't mean all that much by itself until you realize that from the low, it's also 13 bars. And DG is degrees, and that's what we call a 4-minute chart. Now, this is the reason I like 4-minute charts, because it lines up so perfectly. And you might want to, those of you who have a habit of trading 3 and 5-minute charts, you should try 4-minute charts. You might like it. Now, in this situation, it's a super aggressive play if you did a short scalp here based on the 1313. You're not going to stay long, and this is only like you would put the stop law, the sell stop right below the high of this bar and ride it for a couple of bars, and you're not going to hang out very long. It's like you're on the express train and you're only going for a couple of stations. You're not making yourself comfortable, because actually, when you have 34 points and 34 degrees lining up in the same place, high probability that that's a bullish trend, okay? Next chart, similar tendency. High at 134, lower high at 108, 26-point differential, and wouldn't you know it, it's 26 bars up. That's why we like 4-minute bars. Now, this is an excellent drop of 166 points, and as a sidebar, it's 166 points at the low, and it's also a 67% retracement to here. So those of you who come from the Fibonacci world, or if you come from the Elliott world and you only know about certain types of retracements, which are the 38, the 50, the 61, and 78%, I'm here to tell you that just about any number can be a retracement, and it's important that you know that, because you could see right here, 166 points matches a 67% retracement, which means this nice little trade over here is over. Now let's look at the stock. This is MSTR, a very popular stock these days because it's the cousin to Bitcoin. The high is at 457, 457.22. That'll be important in a minute because the low is 422.22. Now, this stops going up partially because it's the 200 period moving average on a 15-minute chart. 457 high, the vibration is 56. It's not a coincidence that this is 56 bars over here. So keep that in mind. Now take a good look at the 457.22, the low 22.22. Check out the next action. Going to the smaller time frame. Now we're on a 4-minute from a 15-minute. 422.22, 22 degrees up. Nice drop. This is what we call a replication flip because it's a replication in numbers, and you have the same number at the low as you have at the high, which is a very high probability change of direction point. Now, in the very next sequence, in the 1 hour, 60-minute manual that I've been discussing for the past 2 months, as you know, the prior high that we saw in the last chart is 22 bars up, right? Well, this one is 22% of a circle. And I'm sorry, I'm not going to give the formula away here, but we were looking at high to high, right? On the other chart, remember 13 points and 13 bars up? Well, this one from 422.55 to 430.18, forget the 5 points. Just think about the 65 to the 18 to the right of the decimal point, and it's a 50.53 difference, and it's 53 bars. So that's a good tendency. And you see, this time it wasn't a scalp, it was a nice little drop. Now on this one, there's a 15-minute. The low to this high is 41.69 points. Okay, that's important because the low gets matched at 71 bars. That's a 2 margin of error, 69 and 71. And many years ago, I did a manual on inversions. And so the difference between 21 and 91 is 70, right? But in this case, the lower number is 91, the higher number is 21. It's still it's an inversion of 21 and 91. So you have 2 reasons why this worked over here. You have the inversion and you have the 71 bars because it's 41.69 points. And yeah, well, let's not forget the fact that the low is 372. So it works all the way around. In this case, we're building towards this secondary high here. And in this case, we have a little high of 924, and on a 15-minute, it's 24 bars. The high and the low match. It's another replication flip. Now in this case, it's another 21 bars, and it matches because it's 920. Yeah, I know it's too simple for some of you to think, is this what it is? Well, yes, it is. Okay, we're going to conclude our short lesson with this chart. This is back to the Dow futures. Okay, we have is a difference of 442, 281. It's 161 points, and it's 62 15-minute bars. Okay, but the reason why I'm really interested in this is because the high is at 917, and notice that it's roughly 16, 15-minute bars up, and then it drops really quick and continues. Why? Because the low is 716. I know this is really simple, but you have to develop the patience to track it. And now, at least many of you know that this stuff exists, so you know what to look for. Now, if you want more information, because we have lots of free content, very accurate and precise on everything you'd ever want to know about price and time, at my new website, beyondthegoldenspiral.com. And for anything that you buy, use the coupon code in the shopping cart, first order, for 10% off. Okay, this week we have the Fed. We have the Fed meeting at Mercury retrograde. And we also have Trump demanding that Powell lower interest rates. Will he lower interest rates? I don't know. But I can tell you one thing, that back in December, when the market started going down and the participants threw a temper tantrum, they were very unhappy because Powell said there would be only 2 rate cuts this year. Well, we're more than halfway into the year, and if he wants to cut rates, he could do it here. And he does, and it's not even a matter of saving face because he's giving in to Trump, simply because he said he was going to do it. So we shall see. All right. Thanks for watching. Thanks for reading. And I'll see you on the next video.